Shanah tovah tikatevu, Shanah tovah tikatevu, tikatevu vetikatemu, Shanah tovah tikatevu, Shanah tovah tikatevu, tikatevu vetikatemu.
Shanah Tovah. Welcome to our members and guests, both in this room and joining us from home through our live stream. So we're very glad to be celebrating the new year with you tonight. We're also blessed to have our cantor, Uri Barnea, here for the 6th year in a row, in his lovely singing voice, and Patricia Schrock accompanying him on piano. And before we begin our service, I'd like to invite up the president of our synagogue, Lori Weinberg, to share a few words.
Well, I'm sorry we have to start on this note. We must be mindful of our surroundings to remain as safe as possible. So please take a look around you for the closest exit. To your left, to your right, in front of you, and behind you. There's even one up here. And as they say every time you're on an airplane during the safety announcements, note that the closest exit may be behind you. These past few years have clearly been a challenge for us all. And while COVID is not behind us and may never be, I still think we can celebrate. This time of coming together is clearly special and even festive, in spite of the uncertainties facing us regarding safety and security in today's challenging world, and we should celebrate. 2 years ago, when we were confronting the uncertainty of the COVID pandemic, I referenced Emily Dickinson's poem, "Hope is the Thing with Feathers." The poem, written to honor the human capacity for hope, portrays hope as a bird that lives within the human soul. This bird sings, come rain or shine, gale or storm, good times or bad. As we continue to face the challenges of the pandemic in a more and more divided world, I remain hopeful, and Orami remains a comforting and uplifting place. Our hopeful flock continues to come together as a sacred community at Orami in good times and in bad, and keeps us hopeful. And to that I say, let's celebrate. Let me now share some of the experiences at Orami that have showed us how we turn and return to opportunities for Judaism to inspire us, to motivate us, and to strengthen our souls. Of course, we are so lucky to have our rabbi flying above and among us. Thank you for all you do for us, Rabbi. Our cantor, Uri Barnea, who has come to us from Montana for the past 6 years, has decided that this will be his last year as he moves into full retirement. Can we all show him our appreciation? And let's all celebrate our devoted pianist, Patricia Schrock, and our Avodah team, now under the leadership of Jeff Haken and Isabel Paul, who along with Renee Gould and the team, have worked behind the scenes to make sure that all of the pieces fall into place for this year's High Holy Day services. Thank you all. Our facilities team remains committed to maintaining a safe, healthy, and welcoming building. Through the grant writing expertise of Marcy Horowitz, we have received sizable grant funding for security improvements implemented by our security expert, Jeff Haken. 2 safety trainings have been held at Orami, and Jeff will be leading some short simulations after the holidays. In addition to security improvements, Orami, Light of My People, seeks to be the light of all of my people. Our old bathrooms have been renovated, and we now have a gender-neutral restroom and a family/handicap accessible restroom at Orami. The renovation was partially funded by a generous bequest and by grant funding from the Jewish Community Federation of Richmond. Let's all celebrate our facilities team and lend them a hand when we can. Team leader Bruce Gould could always use more boots on the ground. Right, Bruce? I also celebrate the fact that 32 new families have joined ORME over the course of the pandemic. How nice that they have joined the flock, and with them, we will soar to new heights. One of our newer members, Allie Moorhead, started an ORME Crafters Group last year. Another newer member, Kate Barnett, has taken over the helm of fundraising, and she has lots of great ideas in store for us. Be on the lookout for more information about our first event, Risk It for the Brisket, a brisket cook-off, which is scheduled for Sunday, November 6th, right after Sunday school. At the heart of ORME is social action and justice. ORME is sponsoring one of the Afghan refugee families. Other endeavors include our involvement in RISK, Richmonders Involved to Strengthen Our Communities, a multi-faith undertaking. This year's focus is on affordable housing and eviction diversion. They are also working with city leaders to adopt a new approach to deal with gun violence and continuing their work on a climate justice initiative as well. Please consider joining an in-person, outdoor, socially distanced ORME Risk House meeting Sunday, October 2nd at 4 o'clock. Laura Horowitz coordinates our work with the Home Again Men's Shelter, which prepares monthly meals for men in the shelter. And speaking of food, a big thank you to those who brought non-perishable items today that will be delivered to Feed More. The collection boxes will be out in the lobby throughout the holidays, so it's not too late to bring items in. On October 16th, we will be joining hands with the Islamic Center for an Interfaith Mitzvah Day. See Marilyn Breslow, or pick up the social action handout if you're interested in learning how to become more involved in our social action justice endeavors. Our recently revived Hineni, or Caring Committee, welcomes your input and participation as they explore more ways to support members in need. Please pick up one of their cards in the lobby if you would like to get more involved. We've settled into new routines. COVID forced us to find new ways to connect, and we have done so successfully. Torah study continues to meet every Saturday, in person and virtually. Under Terry Halperin's leadership, the ORME Book Club engages in thoughtful discussions in their selected Jewish-themed books. Real Theology, under Russ Jennings' hand, resumed this summer, and Beer and Me has been flying high thanks to Alex Woolman's efforts. We've adapted and remain a connected community. As you see, there are numerous ways in which you can become more involved in ORME life, either by joining an existing group, spearheading a new one, or volunteering your time for an activity that strikes your fancy. If you've not already done so, please stop by the information table to learn more. As we start a new and another unusual year, I would like to ask you for your continued financial support. Over the years, ORMEans have opened their wallets to support numerous projects. We now own our building, and we have new carpeting and fresh paint thanks to the generosity of our members. Can we celebrate that, folks? We were blessed this past year with several generous bequests, one from former Rabbi Israel and wife Peggy Kohler, and another from member Jeff Galston. Our members' financial commitment to ORME also extends into the future through our Life and Legacy program for afterlife giving. I remain grateful to all those who have invested in our Jewish community for generations to come. We still look forward to the time when we can all feel comfortable safely gathering in person. In the meantime, remember why you have chosen to be a part of the ORME community. Whether you are here tonight in person or virtually, remember the feeling you have in your hearts as we recite prayers and sing together as a spiritual community, and you will know that your contributions were worth it. While we pride ourselves in opening our doors to everyone at the high holidays and in doing things in the most economical ways possible, it still costs a lot to cover all of the high holiday expenses. To both members and non-members, if you're able, I hope that you will consider continuing to make a commitment to the Jewish people and to our Ora Mi community. Please consider making a donation to our High Holy Day Fund. Our services continue here at the JCC tomorrow morning at 10:30. Tomorrow afternoon, there will be a children's service at Ora Mi, starting at 4 o'clock, followed by Tashlik. The Kol Nidre service will begin here at the JCC at 7:30 p.m. next Tuesday, followed by our Yom Kippur service on Wednesday at 10:30. A family service will be held that day at 4 o'clock here at the JCC, as will Jewish meditation. Afternoon Yitzker will start at 5 o'clock, followed by a light break the fast under the tent. I thank each and every one of you for making Ora Mi a Kahila Kedusha. There is a place for everyone to fly high at Ora Mi. Let's celebrate. Please join us under the tent after the service for some honey and apple cake prepared by our dedicated Ora Mi volunteers. You can pick a piece up, it's out in the lobby, but you take it with you outside and get together with your friends and meet some new people. Shanah tovah.
We begin our service on page 1 with the responsive reading, Awaken. Awaken. It is the time to begin. It is the time to begin anew. It is the time to begin and renew ourselves. A journey seeking inner peace, a journey inward to ourselves and outward to others, a community of searching souls drawing closer together in our spiritual quest. I'd like to invite up our candle lighter, Linda Heiser, past president of Ora Mi.
At this point in our New Year journey, we reach a moment of peace, a respite where the spirit may be nourished and cares set free. This is a moment for pause and renewal of the spirit. The glimmer of the candles will be like a beacon for our hearts. Through flickering flames, we sense how fragile our lives, how tenuous our ties are to each other and to a world often shrouded in darkness. Yet the candles will burn on, inspiring us to gaze upon these holy lights. They will give warmth to our hopes and dreams.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, shel yom hazikaron. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam,
In ancient days, the psalmists asked, "From whence does my help come?" And the answer was, "My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth."
Esaen harim me'ayin yavo ezri. Esaen harim me'ayin yavo ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai Ose Shamayim ba'aretz Ezri me'im Adonai Ose Shamayim ba'aretz.
We invite up Elliot Barnett to lead us in the Midrash on page 3.
A king's son was at a distance of 100 days' journey from his father. His friends said to him, "Return to your father." He said to them, "I cannot." His father sent for him and said, "Go as far as you are able, and I shall come the rest of the way with you." In the same way, the Jewish people are granted the opportunity to return to God so that God may return to them. Thus, the Holy One, blessed be God, said to Israel, "Return unto me, and I will return unto you."
Today our journey covers ground we have traveled before, but now with fresh steps and firm resolve, we seek new ways to bridge the distance between ourselves and God. Let us start the journey to put our lives in order. Let us move forward to rebuild our community and extend our communal work to repair the world. Let us trust in the voice that says, "Return, strive towards a meeting with God."
As we struggle to make this spiritual journey, let us remember that the celebration of Rosh Hashanah is so important that God commands it to us twice in the Torah. In Leviticus we read, "Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, 'Speak to the Israelite people thus, in the 7th month, on the 1st day of the month, you shall observe complete rest, a sacred occasion commemorated with loud blasts.'" We hear the message yet again in Numbers. "In the 7th month, on the 1st day of the month, you shall observe a sacred occasion. You shall not work at your occupations. You shall observe it as a day when the shofar is sounded." For us, no less than for our ancestors, our journey on this Rosh Hashanah must begin with resting from work and listening to the sound of the shofar. But this is only the beginning of our spiritual journey. We gain strength in our struggle as we recall that our ancestors made a sim quest. Let the echoes of the psalmist from earlier time help guide us along our way. Who may sojourn in your tent? Who may dwell on your holy mountain? One who lives without blame, who does what is right, and in his heart acknowledges the truth. Who may ascend Adonai's mountain? Who may stand within your holy place? One who has clean hands and pure heart, one not in vain and swears not deceitfully. This one will receive a blessing and justice from Adonai. Such is the generation of those who seek the presence of the God of Jacob. Let us know your paths. Guide me in your true ways and teach me. Your love reaches to the heavens. Your righteousness is like the high mountains. Your justice is like the great deep. My heart is firm. I will sing. I will chant a hymn. I will sing a hymn to you among the nations, for your faithfulness reaches to the sky.
Sound the shofar when the new moon appears at the turning of the year, at the returning of our solemn celebration. For this is a statute binding on Israel, an ordinance of the God of Jacob.
תיקחו בחודש שופר, בכסל יום חגנו, כי חוק לישראל הוא, משפט לאלוהי יעקב, משפט לאלוהי יעקב.
And so, with fervor, we come together to welcome the new year, to celebrate its promise, to ponder its responsibilities. Let us give thanks for the new opportunities this new year brings us, for the new and deeper relationships it offers us, and for our partnership with the divine. Our journey edges us closer to the foundation of our tradition. Praying together unwinds the sacred chain spiraling back to our ancestors and reaching out to future generations. A voice both within and around us calls on us to repeat the time-honored praises for Adonai, our God.
Please rise for the official call to worship, the Baruch Hu on page 7.
Baruch Hu, et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated.
We praise you, God, whose word brings us on the evening, whose wisdom opens heaven's gates. You make day and night, rolling light away from darkness, and darkness away from light. We praise you at night, whose word makes evenings fall. Unending love have you shown us. Laws and commandments have you taught us. Therefore, we will reflect upon your teachings and rejoice in your law. May the knowledge of your love never depart from our hearts.
Please rise once again for the most important prayer in our tradition, the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha Hayom al levavecha, v'shinatam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, b'shivtecha b'veitecha, uv'lechtecha b'derech, uv'shofbecha uv'kumecha, uv'shartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot beinenecha, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot.
Wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt. There is a better place, a promised land. The winding way to our promised land passes through the wilderness.
There is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, מלכותך משה ומרים זה אמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Our world is not always a friendly place. Wars have scarred its landscapes and scorched its cities.
Enslaved in Egypt, persecuted by inquisitors and czars, pushed into diaspora, synagogues vandalized and burned, innocent lives destroyed, whole communities annihilated. We survive. We Jews survive. Having lived safely through the dark times, let us say a prayer of peace.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו מלכנו לחיים ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך
Just as the Baruch Hu and the Shema connect us with God and the Jewish people throughout the ages, the Avot Ve'imahot honors the relationship God formed with our parents and theirs, going back to ancient times. We praise God as we remember the faithfulness of our forefathers and mothers, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Leah, and Rachel. Please rise for our Amidah, and keep in mind that we have some special additions that will change up the melody in honor of high holidays. So don't go into autopilot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, v'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה.
זוכרנו לחיים, מלך חפץ בחיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים.
מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Please be seated.
Every Shabbat, we are commanded to set the words of Torah on our heart, to stamp its mitzvot on the core of our being. Every Shabbat, we open the book to a new page.
Every page, whether empty or full, shows much of ourselves, who we are, what we think, why we believe, and how we care for others. As the pages gather throughout the year, they become a reckoning of what each of us has done. Rosh Hashanah is the time to collect them into a judgment. Who is foolish and who is wise? Who is evil and who is good? Who is selfish and who is caring? At Rosh Hashanah, our mitzvot and our misdeeds are recorded in the book of life. Are we to open or close the book? Have we the freedom to choose how we act? Is our destiny preordained and choice itself an illusion?
Let us turn to the teachings of the medieval philosopher and sage Moses Maimonides for an answer.
God bestows free will on every human being. If one desires to turn toward the good and be righteous, one has the power to do so. And if one wishes to turn toward the evil way and be wicked, one is also at liberty to do so. Torah provides the divine injunction to do good deeds. It is up to us to find and follow the truth path or to stray from it. To this end, we are the authors of our lives.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום, וטוב מעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת וכל שעה בשלומך. בספר חיים ברכה ושלום, ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה, ברכה ושלום, ניזכר וניכתב לעיניך, אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל, לחיים טובים ולשלום. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום.
Teshuvah, Hitchadshut, Geula. Reopening the book of life to our shortcomings puts us on a path to betterment. Teshuvah, repentance, is the first major step on this path. We confront our mistakes in order to correct them. We begin this monumentous task by reciting together the Avinu Malkeinu, the ancient prayer of our people. Please rise.
אבינו מלכנו, שמע קולנו. אבינו מלכנו, חטאנו לפניך. אבינו מלכנו, חמול עלינו, ועלול עלינו. אבינו מלכנו, כהן דבר וחרב רב מעלינו. אבינו מלכנו, כהלה כל צר ומסטין מעלינו. אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, כותבנו בספר חיים טובים. אבינו מלכנו, חדש עלינו, חדש עלינו, שנה טובה.
Let's read the English translation responsively. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, show mercy to us and to our children. Avinu Malkeinu, destroy the power of every oppressor and adversary. Avinu Malkeinu, let this be a good year for us.
Avinu Malkeinu, be gracious to respond to us. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu Maneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu Maneinu, Yen Manu Masi. Asemanu, Tzedakah V'Chesed. Asemanu, Tzedakah V'Chesed, V'Hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu Maneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu Maneinu, Ki en banu masi.
Please be seated. About 30 years ago, there was a young woman named Gloria. Gloria's mother was an immigrant who had grown up in an austere environment and approached every aspect of life with great seriousness. By the age of 5, Gloria was already receiving messages from her family about play being a waste of time, when there were so many more important things to do, like study and complete chores each day. Although Gloria went to public school, she was not allowed to interact much with her friends outside of class. Her mom made sure that Gloria went straight from school to a tutoring center where she did drills to prepare for standardized tests. There was one time that Stephanie, a friend who sat next to her in art class, invited Gloria to her birthday party at a cool new ceramics studio. But Gloria was not allowed to go because it conflicted with her tutoring sessions. As Gloria looked wistfully at Stephanie's colorful birthday invitation, Gloria's mother explained that the kids who wasted their time painting overpriced ceramics were doomed to fail in life. She insisted that the only people who were successful were those who took their learning and responsibilities seriously each and every day. Success is about sticking to the right routine, she said. That's just what Gloria did, or at least tried to do, for years. Even after her mother passed away, Gloria maintained a busy schedule packed with serious activities from morning until night. Over the years, Gloria credited her serious approach to helping her succeed in her studies and the workplace. But after earning 2 degrees in accounting, a subject that she didn't particularly like, and then spending about a decade in the workforce, Gloria started to feel like something was off. She used to take great pride in her academic and professional achievements, but Gloria's job now felt monotonous and utterly pointless. Each day was just like the one before. There was nothing interesting or rewarding about her work anymore. The routine felt suffocating. One day, Gloria happened to overhear 2 coworkers, Tim and Jess, discussing a similar feeling in the office parking lot. It was comforting in some way to know that she wasn't alone in her feelings about work. But even as her coworkers complained a little about their work feeling particularly tedious that week, they still looked happy as they described other parts of their lives. Tim was having a blast on an amateur baseball team. Jess enjoyed sewing silly outfits for her dog to wear and posting the pictures online. Tim laughed loudly and clapped his hands together with delight when Jess showed him a picture of her French bulldog wearing a baseball costume on her phone. Gloria could hear her mother's vexed voice echoing in her head. Playing baseball and sewing dog costumes? What a waste of time. Gloria drove home, made the same dinner she always made on Wednesday nights, and then promptly hand-washed the dishes. Then she wiped down all of her kitchen counters, dusted her living room, and vacuumed the carpet as she did at the end of each day. When Gloria got up the next morning, she made her bed and her usual breakfast of 2 eggs. She showered, brushed her teeth, got dressed and into her car as she did each morning. Everything was following the normal routine until another car ran a red light 2 blocks from Gloria's office. Unfortunately, as Gloria passed through that intersection as she did every day at 8:46 a.m., this time she did not make it into the office before 9. Instead, she looked through a broken windshield and then down at her leg in shock. It was bleeding. The front of her car had been crushed into her body in this unexpected collision. Gloria dialed 911 and then called her boss to apologize for being late as she was being lifted into an ambulance and taken to the hospital. An X-ray revealed that Gloria's right leg was broken, while other parts of her body were badly scraped and bruised. The ER doctor explained a few things related to her injuries, including that she should see a physical therapist about her leg within a week. It was hard to process any of this information. The crash still didn't feel real. Gloria looked at her watch. It was 3:07. She was supposed to be in the office now, on her 3rd cup of coffee and looking over an Excel sheet. Instead, she was hobbling on crutches toward a taxi to go home in the middle of the day. Gloria wondered if she had cursed herself by secretly wishing for a break from her boring routine. Gloria was not sure what to do when she arrived home. She had never missed a day of work before. She called her boss again and explained the extent of her injuries. Fortunately, he was understanding and supportive. He encouraged her to take the rest of the week off. But what about, Gloria started to ask about her current work project. Tim and Jess can cover for you this week. Then, if you feel up to it, maybe you can work from home next week. Otherwise, I suggest that you use some of the paid time off you have accumulated. We hope you have a speedy recovery. The next day, Gloria woke up in so much pain that she couldn't even fathom going to work. She struggled to get out of bed and found that she had little appetite. It was clear that there would be no following her usual routine. All she managed to do was eat one small meal and set up an appointment with a physical therapist. A few days later, a physical therapist named Lillian came to treat Gloria at home. While pulling some equipment out of her bag, Lillian asked Gloria what she liked to do for fun. For fun? Asked Gloria, unable to think of the last time she did something for fun. Gloria stared blankly and felt her face turning red as Lillian waited for her response. I've been pretty focused on work lately, but I used to love painting, said Gloria sheepishly. It was the only thing she could think of, painting with Stephanie in art class back in the 6th grade. That's great, said Lillian. You could easily paint with your leg in a cast, and the joy it brings you will help the healing process. Really? Asked Gloria. Oh, definitely, said Lillian. My patients who make time for joy always seem to heal the best. After Lillian left, Gloria wondered how much work she would be missing as she continued to recover from the car accident. She was afraid of being fired and becoming what her mom would have called a failure. Determined to heal faster, Gloria ordered some art supplies online. When they arrived a few days later, Gloria was working part-time from home. Right after she finished her work for the day, Gloria pulled out a canvas, a few brushes, and some paint. The smell of each item brought her back to 6th grade art class. She remembered giggling with her friend Stephanie, and a smile spread across her face. As she picked up her paintbrush, Gloria felt alive in a way she hadn't felt for so many years. The next time Lillian came to her for physical therapy, Gloria was in good spirits. You're recovering a lot faster than I would have expected, said Lillian as Gloria exercised her leg. Gloria smiled and responded, yes, I'm feeling ready to go back to work full time, and I think it's because I found my joy again. Oh, and before I forget, I made you something. Gloria pointed to a painting in the corner. It's an abstract painting meant to convey the healing process. Lillian looked at the colors swirling perfectly together and exclaimed, I love it! Thank you so much. Now don't forget to keep painting even when you're back at work full time. A wise friend once told me that you could deny yourself the time you need for rest and joy due to all of the unfinished items on your to-do list, or you can make time each week for self-care while accepting that you will never get everything done. Either way, there will always be undone items on the to-do list, so you might as well choose the path that includes joy. Gloria had never thought about life that way before, but just a few hours of painting each week really did make her life so much more enjoyable. The more tedious work projects were always easier to get through when she thought of getting to do something fun afterward. And when she went back to work full-time, Gloria made sure to regularly schedule time for painting. She decided to infuse her life with more joy in other ways too. For example, instead of doing her chores in silence as she had previously done, Gloria decided to play fun music and dance a little as she washed the dishes or folded the laundry. She realized that happiness in life was less about what we do than about how we do it. The same task can be approached with several different mindsets, and one of those mindsets could be joyful. Indeed, there are a number of teachings in Jewish tradition that encourage us to find the joy in life. The 18th century Hasidic master, Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav, taught that it is a great mitzvah to be happy, to always seek out the joy in life. Similarly, the Jerusalem Talmud proclaims that at the end of our lives, when we go before God in judgment of how we spent our time on earth, we will have to answer for every delicacy we saw, yet did not consume. In other words, God filled this world with beauty, joy, and pleasure. We are meant to enjoy all of these magnificent gifts from God. And yet, we often ignore a beautiful sunset and choose instead to stare bitterly at a screen as we answer yet another work email. God also gave us the incredible gift of rest through Shabbat and holidays, sacred times when we are called to put down our work and focus on the bigger picture. But we don't have to wait until the next holiday or even the next Shabbat to rest. God gave us the gift of rest in the form of daily sleep as well. Yet rather than allowing our brains and bodies to recover during the 8 hours of slumber that God designed for us to enjoy each night, we often deny ourselves this basic need and then brag to others about how little we slept before returning to work. This approach is not healthy or sustainable. We may not have grown up with the same mother as Gloria, but many of us nevertheless picked up similar messages about overworking and continuously postponing our joy. Instead of finding ways to enjoy this moment, we often say to ourselves, I will be happy when X, Y, or Z happens, when I pay off my student loans, when I buy a house, when I finally retire. But even when we achieve those things, we still do not allow ourselves to simply enjoy them. Instead, we look to the next big achievement and say, we will be happy when that happens, only to keep postponing our joy. Rosh Hashanah is here to provide us a wake-up call that we need to escape from this damaging cycle. The new year reminds us that time is marching along steadily. We can't keep saying that we will let ourselves be happy someday. The famous High Holy Day prayer, Unetana Tokef, reminds us that we will eventually run out of days. Some people have less than 365 days left to live. It's time to stop postponing our joy. We don't wait till the end of the year to have our apples and honey. We are taught to start the year with sweetness because joy is a spiritual priority in life. So as we evaluate our lives and begin this new year, I invite you to infuse each day with joy. Let us start each morning with a ritual that increases our happiness. Instead of picking up a smartphone first thing in the morning to read distressing news or work emails, what if we take a few minutes to just breathe and gently stretch? It may sound cheesy, but it is helpful to begin our day with gratitude by saying a short Hebrew prayer like Modeh Ani, or just whispering in English, "Thank you, God, for giving me another day." After that, we could easily increase our joy by sitting for a few minutes and savoring the smell of our morning coffee, or perhaps going for a short walk outside. We could let the sunlight ease us into the day instead of rushing headfirst into a mountain of endless work or worries. Then, even as we go about our work, we can find or create little pieces of joy throughout the day. We can do little acts of kindness for others and enjoy how their faces light up. We can spend time with people who make us laugh. We can set aside 2 more minutes each day to play or snuggle with our pets. Like Gloria, let us pick up our own versions of a paintbrush and engage in activities that make us feel joyful and alive. May these little steps help us to appreciate what a monumental gift we have been given. As we enter the new year of 5783, may we all be written in the book of life and learn to truly enjoy all that life has to offer. Shanah tovah.
Retzeh Adonai Eloheinu Be'amecha Yisrael U'tefilatam Be'ahava Tekabel Ratzon Tamid Avodat Yisrael Yisrael Amecha El Rachok Lekol Korav Enel Avadecha Vechanenu Shefoch Ruachacha Aleinu Metechezena Enenu Meshuvecha Letzion Berachamim Baruch atah Adonai המחזיר שכינתו
Please rise for Aleinu on page 15.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, מגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד.
Please be seated.
As we savor the joy and promise of the new year, a trace of sorrow settles into our hearts. We move ahead in our lives, knowing the lives of some loved ones have ended. What of those I know, remember by touch and sight, by story and fable?
What of those I loved, caressed, watched grow, watched come and go? Only here and now. Am I only here and now? No. I extend through the past and future, through space and time.
I extend into the past, part of me in those I have lost.
Part of me in their joys, in their sorrows, in their gains, and in their losses. I extend through space, through time, in those not still living, who I still love. I am here, I am now, part of me hand in hand, part of me not forgetting, still sharing.
At this point in our service, we think of loved ones who have passed away recently or at this time in years past. Tonight we remember with love Robert Fierstein, cousin of Renee Gould, Marlene Kane, mother of David Kane, Naomi Paul, mother of Isabel Paul, Esther Grainer, mother of Suzanne Horton, Susan Hurt, longtime member of ORME, Shirley Lazink, sister of Alan Arkava, David Leibovic, brother of Steve Leibovic, Andrew Lividas, father of Linda Sherm, Roberta Lutz, sister of Beth Levine, Eleanor Miller, mother of Martin Miller, Lionel Paradise, grandfather of Nicole Rossi, and Helen Wires, mother of Jeannie Engler. Are there other loved ones we wish to remember tonight?
I have one. Mike Hugh.
Zichronam Libracha, may their memories always be a blessing. Let us rise together as a community of support for the Mourner's Kaddish on page 17. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah V'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayed zechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Olamei Almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal Shmei Dekudesha Brichu Le'ela Mikol Birchata B'shirata Tush B'chata B'nechamata Da'amiran Be'alma V'imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort for all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. Days of work, days of rest, trials that test our inner being and challenge our inner peace, blessings of home, love and friendship, life, health, and strength. For these, all these, O God, we bless this cup and taste this sweet wine.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacha banu mikol ha'am, ורוממנו מכל לשון, וקידשנו במצוותיו. מה תיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה את יום הזיכרון הזה, יום תרועה מקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי באנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ודברך אמת וקיים לען. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש ישראל ביום הזיכרון. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם. Together, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'teavon, with good appetite when we get our honey cakes and challah soon.
We have gone down the road together, pausing to reflect on what it means to embrace the spirit of renewal. The words that we have set in our hearts today must not be forgotten. What must we do?
We must bring these words in the world beyond this sanctuary, to hammer them onto the doorposts and the gates where we live.
We must live these words, for that is the awesome responsibility of these holy days.
עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen.
Please rise for our closing benediction. Our God and God of our ancestors, eternal God of all generations, may your presence in our lives this new year renew our spirits and renew our strength. May it be a good year, may it be a sweet year. L'Shanah tovah tikatevu v'techatemu, may you be inscribed and sealed for a good year. Shanah tovah. I'll see you outside.